Hey! Wie is daar? Hey!
Oh no. Dude, this place is weird. What the?
Exploring and Me, EAM, is a YouTube channel run by Peter, known for his calm solo explorations of Europe's abandoned places. But this visit was different. The house he returned to had always left him uneasy, ever since a visit years ago, just before a life-altering accident. This time, he wasn't alone. Joining forces with Haunting Ghost Netherlands, Peter set out to investigate the property, searching for signs of paranormal activity, especially after nightfall, when the real test would begin.
The ghost hunters are outside already, so let's go up this stairs. Let's hope I don't fall through and I'll be more damaged than I already am. Alright, look at this view. It's all abandoned. Here is another room. What does this say? I don't know. This is another room. Holy shit. Oh guys, look how creepy this is. Maybe tonight we will go here for the ghost contacting. Look at this. Very creepy. Look how high I am. Yeah. Tonight we will go back when it's dark and we will try to see if there's any paranormal activity. Let's see. I'm very curious if this is real, because I know a lot of you doubt, but we will see if there's anything paranormal. I'm really excited for that.
The decay was everywhere. Rusted tools, sagging floors, and strange, half-forgotten objects that hinted at the life once lived here. The rooms felt heavy with rot and neglect, and left an impression none of them could shake. They had seen enough to know the layout. But it wasn't the broken floors or mold-covered walls they'd be thinking about later. It was the feeling that something inside was still waiting.
I am back. It's very late now. Look how dark it is. Yes. And we will see if we can have contact with any ghost. No entry, it says. It's very, very dark. Very, very creepy. As you see, the doors are closed now. So we think there's a homeless person inside. And that's not a good sign. All the doors were closed. And when we left, they were open.
No wind, no animals, just doors, now firmly shut, that had been wide open when they left. It wasn't superstition that made the group pause. It was instinct. A quiet understanding that something had changed, and not for the better. This wasn't the feeling of a haunted place. This was the feeling of not being alone. Still, after a moment of hesitation, they stepped inside. They hadn't come all this way just to turn back. But whether that decision was brave or reckless remained to be seen.
Alright, we are going upstairs to see if there's any homeless people here.
Ik hoor je stemmen gewoon. Ja, zoiets.
They are hearing voices.
Oh ja. Ja. Ik kom daar vandaan.
Echt?
And then, they heard it. Voices. Muffled. Low. Not from the team. From deeper inside. At that moment, it didn't matter anymore whether it was supernatural or not. Both possibilities were equally terrifying.
Yes. Yes. Through the gap, through the gap.
Alright.
Go down, go down.
This is the only door we didn't check.
Oké. Hebben jullie wel allemaal wat in je hand? We kunnen zomaar...
Die is weggegaan als iemand heeft.
Hey! Wie is daar? Hey!
Oh no.
Hey, blijf.
Holy shit.
Hey, fuck you, vergeet toch niet, man. Ik zei het toch.
Oh fuck.
Hello?
Hi.
Yo.
Goedendag.
We are not here to harm. We not to harm you. You speak English or Dutch? Sprachen Sie Deutsch?
We will just film upstairs. Is that okay? We will film upstairs.
Sprachen Sie Deutsch?
Kijk uit, kijk uit. Goed.
Yes.
Lampen laag.
Oh, sorry.
Sie sprachen Deutsch, ja?
Right. There's two Polish people. Two Polish homeless people. So we gave them some money to survive.
The two had been living in the basement, Polish, homeless, and thankfully not aggressive. But discovering them after unknowingly walking above their heads was deeply unnerving. The encounter ended without conflict. Peter and the others offered them money, a gesture with quiet gratitude. The men were respectful, even kind, but the weight of the moment lingered. Because abandoned doesn't always mean empty. And in places like this, the real danger isn't always what you came looking for. Sometimes it's not the ghosts you have to fear. Sometimes it's the fact that someone was already there, lurking in silence. Some encounters end quietly with a gesture of understanding, but this next one spiraled in the exact opposite direction. Quick interruption. If you're enjoying this video, why not hit that subscribe button? We're on a mission to hit 300,000 subscribers, and when we do, 3 lucky fans will win a limited edition items. Right now, 61.2% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. We're pushing for at least 40%, and we need your help to make it happen. It's completely free, and your support helps us make even more awesome videos. So, don't miss out, subscribe now, and let's get back to the video. In the heart of downtown Cleveland stands a forgotten giant, the Rockefeller Building, a once prestigious address dating back to the early 1900s. Once home to powerful law firms, financial institutions, and respected professionals, it now sits hushed and hollow, its windows dark, its halls stripped of purpose. A symbol of architectural pride reduced to quiet decay. On June 9, 2025, urban explorer Chris, known online as Urbex Hill, stepped inside to document what's left. Since its closure in 2022, the building's deterioration has accelerated at an alarming pace. Though redevelopment plans have surfaced over the years, little has come to fruition. Inside, nature, time, and human neglect have conspired to unmake what was once an icon.
5 people breaking into Cleveland's historic Rockefeller Building on West 6th and Superior happened a little after 3 this morning. Video from our overnight news tracker shows some of the windows broken out of this 17-story building.
Yet perhaps the greatest threat to its survival isn't time or the elements, it's people. Scrappers, vandals, and intruders have torn through the building, gutting it for copper, metal, and whatever else can be sold or stolen. The destruction is relentless. But still, Chris went in, not for thrill or clicks, but to preserve a record of what remains. At first, it was just another abandoned space. But it wouldn't stay that way for long.
Someone must have just recently pissed on the ground right here. That's gross. Wow, those are all bullet holes. The coronavirus. I think this when this place shut down was during the pandemic. Are people really in here shooting? It's a 9mm. That's crazy. It's crazy that places like this with so much detail get destroyed and demolished. Bro, more bullet casings. Look at that. That's crazy.
Signs of past danger emerged quickly. bullet holes, shell casings, and unmistakable marks of gunfire deep within the building's interior. These weren't just remnants of decay, they were warnings. For Chris, the realization struck hard. He wasn't just exploring a collapsing structure, but walking into a space where real violence had occurred. Still, rather than turning back, he pushed deeper. That's what curiosity does. It doesn't always follow logic.
The fuck is that? That's crazy. Sucks.
High above the city, a brief reprieve, Chris stood on the rooftop, surveying Cleveland's skyline. For a moment, there was a glimpse of peace amid the chaos, but that calm would not last. From this point forward, something shifted. The quiet wasn't comforting anymore. It felt like a pause before something else began.
Somebody's been up here recently. Smells like cigarettes in here. Somebody's pills. They ripped the label off. Somebody was like using needles up here too, it looks like. Somebody's here. I heard something. I wonder if that was somebody.
As he descended back into the building, the atmosphere thickened. Unexplained noises echoed faintly in the distance, soft at first, then sharp. Chris couldn't be sure whether the sounds were coming from outside or from inside the building with him. Every step became deliberate. His flashlight moved slower. The thought of encountering someone, especially someone armed, was no longer abstract. It was real and imminent.
I started hearing a lot of noise coming from the stairwell nearby on the 9th floor, multiple voices and what sounded like music playing from a cell phone. So I quickly pressed record on my camera and turned my light off just in case they were hostile. Unfortunately, the camera audio was cutting in and out during the entire exploration, and it failed to capture the sound during this part. While sitting quietly in the dark, I listened, and they sounded like they might be fellow urban explorers. So I turned my light on and went to the stairwell to see who they were. When I got to the door, I unintentionally scared a woman that was with the group, and she screamed and ran up the stairs yelling, "Help." That's when one of the guys racked his gun and shouted, "Who's down there?" I replied that I was just taking pictures of the building. It quickly became clear they weren't explorers, they were scrappers, and they were also using drugs while stripping the place. They began yelling and threatening to shoot me if I didn't leave. I started arguing back at them, saying I have a gun too, and that they needed to relax. After a bit of tense back and forth, I told them I'm leaving soon and I won't bother them. I then left the stairwell and went down the hall to a different stairwell so I could get to the lower section of the building to get away from them. As I walked away, I could hear what sounded like at least 4 people yelling and cussing about me being there. One of them was even talking about me. This whole interaction made me pretty nervous, especially considering the number of bullet holes and shell casings I had already found scattered throughout the building. It was clear that these scrappers come here often, and were mad that I was in there, and it wouldn't surprise me if they fire off rounds to scare off explorers or anyone else who enters the building. Anyways, I just continued to explore the lower levels of the building, hoping they stay in the upper levels.
This place is crazy. Completely flooded.
You have to respect the nerve it takes to keep going in a moment like that. Chris had every reason to turn around, but he didn't. He kept his composure, even as tension crawled through every hallway. The deeper he went, the more likely it felt that someone, maybe more than one person, was still inside. And he wasn't wrong. The final moments of the exploration brought a new kind of danger. Not just the unknown, but the sense of being actively watched. Chris made his way out quietly, avoiding confrontation, avoiding panic. He escaped unseen, unharmed, but not unaffected. Because even after the footage ends, the tension doesn't fade. The silence he walked through was not empty, and the fear wasn't imagined. In places like this, the risks aren't always visible at first, but they're real. And they don't always give you a second chance. Chris walked out in silence, lucky to leave with only the weight of what he felt. But not every explorer is given that kind of exit. These next explorers were forced to face what's hiding inside, head on. And that clip comes from the TikTok account MV Urbex, a creator known for documenting eerie and atmospheric explorations of abandoned buildings across the US. His content usually focuses on forgotten spaces, rusted remnants of the past, and the quiet stillness that comes with decay. But this time, what he captured was far from quiet. During what started as a routine exploration with a friend, the tone of the day shifted in an instant. They had entered an enormous derelict structure, dark, silent, apparently empty. But it didn't stay that way.
Run! Do something! Do something, run!
Out of nowhere, two squatters appeared, heading straight for them. And it was immediately clear. This wasn't going to be a friendly exchange.
Run! Do something! Do something, run!
There was no time to think, just a flood of adrenaline and instinct, the kind of moment that burns itself into your memory. For urban explorers, this is the unspoken fear, coming face to face not with ghosts or shadows, but with people. People who don't want you there. There was no context provided beyond the footage. just a brief caption. Never exploring an abandoned building again. And after watching the clip, it's not hard to understand why. That building wasn't empty, it was someone's territory, and they were ready to defend it. We don't know how the encounter ended, whether they escaped through a back hallway or had to talk their way out. We can only hope they made it out unharmed. But one thing is for sure, this clip is a sobering reminder. In urban exploration, danger doesn't always wear a mask or hide in the shadows. Sometimes it walks straight toward you, angry, unpredictable, and very real. Because when you walk into these forgotten places, you're not always alone, and you're not always welcome. Some places threaten you with confrontation, others with silence. But both can leave their mark. And as Kyle and his friend would soon learn, stepping into a place abandoned by people doesn't always mean stepping away from fear. Sometimes the danger waits quietly, just behind the curtain. And that footage comes from the YouTube channel Plan Zero, created by Kyle. Normally, Kyle's content revolves around trampolining and lifestyle videos, and he's also the founder of the clothing brand that shares the same name. But on September 25th, 2017, the channel took a much darker turn. In this video, Kyle teams up with his friend Alex to explore a place steeped in local lore, the abandoned Royalty Cinema in Harborne, a location many residents quietly claim is haunted. Despite the rumors, their curiosity won out. After struggling to gain access, the two eventually slipped inside, stepping over the threshold of a crumbling theater lost to time.
Hear that? What was that noise? It's sketchy. Of all the abandoned places I've been, this is... of all the places, this is the hardest one it's ever been to get into. I really don't think many people get a chance to go in here. Yo, look at that, that's trippy. Yo, I wonder if they watch Plan Zero. Yo! Whoa. You hear that? This place, there's just noises. Oh my god, it was my shadow. There's just noises everywhere.
At first, they marveled at the cinematic decay, the collapsing ceiling tiles, the forgotten stage, the layers of dust that seemed untouched for years. But beneath the beauty, something else lingered. A tension, a weight. The deeper they went, the harder it became to ignore.
You know, this place is actually really starting to creep me out. There's a pigeon. It's getting darker and darker here because the sun's going down and there's less natural light. It's getting a little bit sketchy because we still have to get out of here through that window. Check this out. This is the balcony and it's just a sheer drop. This place, dude, this place is weird. What the fuck? No, look, here. Dude, this thing. Have you been up here yet? Have you been up here?
No, I don't think so.
Dude, I swear to god, this came around the corner.
You can't be freaking me out like this.
Well, look, I swear, did you not hear it? There's no way it fell off of that.
Already on edge, things took a sharp turn when an object suddenly fell from the wall just as Kyle walked by. It could have been a coincidence, but it felt too precise, too well timed.
I don't know, I thought it was you. I heard a noise, but...
Where does this see it? Dude, this is... I'm not joking, I swear, I'm not joking.
You're f***ing with me, because now,
I'm not,
now
dude,
I got chills.
I swear, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Look, I'll watch the footage. Dude, I mean, you've seen it, right? You've seen it.
I feel like you've set this up somehow, but I'm really not trying to stay around.
I swear, I'm not joking.
That was the breaking point. The unease had sunk in too deep, and neither of them was willing to stay long enough to understand what had just happened. With hearts racing, they scrambled for anything to climb on, grabbing what they could and making their way back out the way they came. The rotting walls of the Royalty Cinema faded behind them, but the questions didn't. They escaped with adrenaline and just enough distance to feel safe, but not enough to forget. What had stirred in that auditorium? A squatter? A shadow? Or something that never left at all? For this next explorer, it wasn't a sound or a shadow that made him hesitate. It was the quiet arrangement of objects, knowing that something wasn't right. Explore Abandoned Places with Tattoo Tony Alton, a channel that doesn't just document abandoned spaces, it confronts them. Tony, an experienced urban explorer, ventures into forgotten buildings that most wouldn't dare to approach. But this time, something was different. He wasn't just filming decay, he was stepping into a situation where things felt actively wrong. Tony had a simple plan: document the shell of a house left to rot. But before he even got through the back door, signs appeared that this place wasn't truly abandoned.
I'm not 100%, but they looked a lot. I couldn't get any closer, I didn't want to. But it looked a lot like there might have been syringes in that bag. It really did. Here's the basement. I couldn't go in there. It was flooded.
Luckily, Tony doesn't go in blindly. The bag immediately raises red flags. He kept his distance, not out of fear, but out of instinct. Because if there's one thing time has taught him, it's that in places like this, the danger doesn't always wait inside the house. It sometimes waits just around the corner.
So, I went up into the upstairs of the unit that was next to that one. Started coming up the stairs, there's trash all over them. There's a weave. There's a trash bag there. Seems like most of these places homeless people have been living in, you'll find strange odds and ends. And trash all over. Obviously they don't have trash service. There's some canned goods lined up on the shelf. You'll see a few decent or newer food items. People all the time say, how can you assume these things? XYZ. I've been in enough abandoned buildings and seen different situations to kind of let the clues tell the story of what was going on. So there's a sheet hanging over that hallway.
This wasn't the kind of mess left behind by vandals or bored kids. It was lived in, chaotic, but purposeful. Someone had been staying here, and maybe still was. And when Tony spotted the blanket draped over that entrance, the unease only sharpened. It felt like a warning. Someone might still be inside. Choosing not to push his luck any further, Tony backed away and stepped outside, unwilling to risk a direct confrontation with whoever might be inside. But what waited for him beyond those walls wasn't much better. In fact, it was even worse.
I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying a lot of the people I've encountered are most definitely drug addicts. This says, stay the fuck out. The one that I looked through the back door, I found the sign afterwards. Stay the fuck out. No more staying. Don't fuck with me. That's what the sign says. I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't go in there.
That message was all the confirmation Tony needed. He had made the right call by not venturing further. Whether driven by addiction, mental illness, or some mix of the two, someone had carved out a life here. This was a space guarded by desperation, a place where survival depends on keeping others out. And Tony had unknowingly stepped across that invisible threshold. But Tony doesn't jump to conclusions. He doesn't rely on guesses. He speaks from experience. Because he's seen this before, more times than he can count. Buildings that appear abandoned from the outside, but inside, they hold stories. Raw, urgent, and often dangerous ones. In those places, the real threat isn't the rot or the ruin. It's the line drawn by someone who has nowhere else to go. A line that says, "Don't come any closer." And this time, Tony listened. He didn't need a confrontation to understand how quickly things could have escalated. He's been doing this long enough to know that not every door is worth opening. And sometimes, the safest choice is simply turning back. Tony knew when to turn back, but some places don't offer that warning. As Craig and Stephanie soon found out, silence doesn't always mean safety. Welsh Urbex is the channel where Craig and Stephanie, a married couple united by a shared passion for urban exploration, step beyond the edges of the familiar. Together, they seek out the forgotten, places where silence has settled thick and deep, and where history seeps from every broken wall. In this episode, they turn their attention to an abandoned care home, a once busy facility that served the vulnerable, now left to rot beneath peeling ceilings and soft, collapsing floors. Under the pale, unflinching light of day, they move carefully through its remains, searching for echoes and perhaps answers. What they find is a place that reminds them, not every danger in a place like this is paranormal.
What else we've got? Whoa, it is dark.
Smelly. Look at all that dust.
Where?
In the air, it was in front of us then.
I can't see.
Oh no, it's my breath.
It is pitch black in here. Absolutely pitch black. Just done a swap with my wife. I now wear the head torch. My wife now carries the handheld torch. It's a riveting conversation, this, isn't it?
From the very first steps inside, there's a tension that hums beneath the stillness. Though they keep the mood casual with light jokes, the weight of the building settles over everything. Damp air clings to the skin, black mold blooms like ink across the ceilings, and entire rooms appear untouched yet unnervingly fragile. This was once someone's home, someone's workplace, now reduced to waterlogged rot and ghostly emptiness, and yet, even in daylight, it feels like something is still watching.
Which way were we going? We're going this way, weren't we? Workers' tools, huh? Just been left.
Ew.
What's in here? It's like a bathroom in there as well.
Only.
Staff only. Yep.
It's been staff room.
Yep. What's we got on the floor? Is it the Bible? It is the Bible. Pages from the Bible. On the floor. You are fucking joking me. Fuck off. Hey, what's that? Look at this fucking room. The fucking kitchen is still here.
There are details that stand out, not for their strangeness, but for their consistency. Bibles scattered across multiple rooms, strange objects placed with almost too much intention, as if someone had been here not long ago, trying to tidy up, or perhaps trying to erase something. The air shifts at times, subtly, as if the building itself still breathes, but the discovery of the kitchen changes the mood entirely. Remarkably intact. Stoves, freezers, countertops, all still standing as if waiting to be used again. It's the kind of find that momentarily distracts. The child who lets your guard down. And for a moment, that's exactly what happens.
Incredible. We've got anything in the cupboards. The cupboards are empty. Shit. This is amazing, dear. Isn't this amazing?
Yeah. You see this stuff like the grill's still here?
Yeah.
There's a massive
Someone- Massive what?
freezer.
I don't know. I must try and start a fire there. But
Yeah, because why wouldn't you? You could reenact Jurassic Park.
yeah, hide in there. Do some Jurassic Park in there. There's the grill. There's for hiding from velociraptors in there. You guys want to keep going up, see what we can find. I'm going to go down in. And it just seems like this floor is just more rooms. So we're going to have a quick look down there. But we're not going to, you know, go investigating loads of stuff. I keep trying to go up the stairs, see if anything. There's a strong smell of weed right where we are now.
This is when the distractions fade, and reality returns with weight. A sudden noise and the thick, unmistakable smell of weed drifting from somewhere nearby. It's enough to change their pace, enough to make them reconsider how alone they really are. The signs had been there all along. Blocked off stairways, rearranged furniture, rooms that looked just a little too lived in. Now, there's no more doubt. Someone else is here. And unlike the spirits that some might expect to find in places like this presence is very much alive. They don't run, there's no panic, just a quiet decision to move carefully and to leave the way they came. Because this exploration was never meant to become a confrontation. And as they retrace their steps through the long, ruined corridors, one thing becomes clear. This place is more than just abandoned. It's a space suspended between past and present. A home that no longer serves, yet still shelters something or someone. Now that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these horrifying clips, subscribe to my channel and click to see more on the video on screen.